I did an episode a little while back, specifically episode 143. I will link to it right here, where I talked about how to automate and grow your business using Facebook Messenger bots, and it was a huge hit. In fact, so many people have been messaging me, asking me for more information on how they can specifically implement this strategy into their business. And since some things have changed with these little robots and what you can do with them on Facebook, because heck, Facebook is always changing, I wanted to come out with another episode, specifically today's episode, and talk all about what these changes are that Facebook made, how you can use Facebook Messenger bots for your business, give you some really cool ideas on how to automate and grow, and then on top of that, leverage your time. And because I know one of the best Facebook Messenger trainers out there, I wanted to interview him and bring him out on the show so that he can share some ideas with us on what some of his clients are doing, what he is doing to grow his business and to help others grow their business. Selfishly, I wanted to bring my good friend Mark Harbert out because I wanted a little bit of his time myself to ask him more in-depth details on how to use Facebook Messenger bots. So I thought if I was going to squeeze a little bit of time out of him, I would actually do this in a form of a TV episode for you so that you can learn all that I'm going to learn from Mark, who again happens to be one of my favorite humans on planet Earth in the marketing space and one of the best Facebook Messenger bot trainers I know. Facebook Messenger bots are such a cool and very simple and typically easy tool to use to help you generate leads and sales and automate your time. So I really want to have a great in-depth conversation about these and how they can help your business. So stay tuned. Welcome to episode 214. My name is Tanya and I help entrepreneurs and network marketers create success fast while most importantly design a lifestyle that you love. If you're new here, consider subscribing and make sure that you set your notifications to on so you don't miss an episode, because I release a new episode here on Tanya TV each and every week with free resources that will help you grow your business even more. So also make sure to check out the show notes that we leave with the episode below for more awesome, great tools, tips, and ideas to help you grow your business that is aligned with the topic that we're talking about today. So today, since we're bringing out my good friend Mark Harbert to talk all about Facebook Messenger bots, let's get right into it and we're going to rock it out. So we have Mark Harbert in the house, and I am so excited to have my good buddy on with me yet another time. Mark's been on the show probably a couple of times in the years that I've been doing the show. And not only is Mark, like I said, is a phenomenal friend. He is like a marketing genius that I look up to, and we always call each other up with new little marketing tactics and strategies all the time. We're like, hey buddy, have you learned this? Have you learned that? And so one of the things that I wanted to do, Mark, is I wanted to have a conversation today all around Facebook Messenger bots. And my people have been craving this knowledge and to dive a little bit deeper. I had you on the show, I don't know if it was like a few years back, and we talked about messenger bots when they were just coming into play and they were becoming popular for our industry. But lots has changed, and there's also lots has changed inside of our business and how we're utilizing these messenger bots. And so I really wanted to have a discussion around, how people are utilizing them to grow their business, grow their influence, help leverage their time. And so that's what's going to be all about today. Thank you for coming on. But before we dive in, I always like to start off the show. If we're talking about a strategy, of course, I want to know what's one biggest success story, or either for yourself or maybe one of your students or your clients, using Facebook Messenger bots.
Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for having me on. You're awesome. And yes, you are my buddy. Like every time I think of something or come up with something new, I gotta call you. Like it's or text you. It's always like
Yeah,
that. Like
totally.
Tanya, I figured something out. So, but yeah. So Facebook Messenger bots are amazing. So right off the bat, the one that sticks out the most is my own. I recently did a campaign, okay, using Facebook Messenger bots, and I actually used a Facebook ad to do this. But just to give you how good this worked, with because engagement is the name of the game, and I know we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But being able to engage my audience, I spent $62 on ads, and I made over $1,700 from that one ad. And the reason being is because the engagement through bots is so ridiculous that it really basically sears you in the mind of your audience. And that's for me, like, I mean, we're talking, I made 27 times more than I spent on ads. Pretty
Wow,
powerful.
that's incredible. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
super incredible.
yeah,
And platforms are changing right now.
very much.
Social media is changing.
Yeah,
We got to adapt and change, as frustrating as it is, because every time we think that we figured something out, it goes and changes on us, and we're like,
yeah,
damn it, you know?
yeah, it is. It's
Um,
crazy. But the cool thing about it is that it really gives you the opportunity to grow. And in a lot of ways, I love that change, because it just makes me
yes.
better. So,
Keeps us on our
yep.
toes, absolutely. So, for those of my audience that don't know who the famous Mark Harbert happens to be yet, I would love for them to know exactly
Yeah.
who they're learning from today. So, can you share a little bit about your background and how you even got into using Facebook Messenger bots, and
Yeah.
what exactly do you do and who do you serve? Like, who's
Yeah.
your audience?
So, my background is, I was, make a long story short, I got started in network marketing many, many years ago. The biggest problem I came up against was I didn't have enough people to talk to. Very similar issue that many network marketers have. I really dove in headfirst to marketing online, learned everything I possibly could about lead generation. And, fast forward 7, 8 years, and generating leads is never an issue for me. I can do that at the drop of a hat. But what really got me interested in Facebook Messenger bots, and this is the funny part about it, because a few years ago when they started coming out, my first reaction was like, oh hell no. like like I ain't touching this with a 10-foot pole. And the reason being is because this is going to ruin Facebook Messenger. And I was just adamantly against it. And then, believe it or not, I came across this ad that really spoke to why messenger bots were so good. And I went through it and I'm like, dude, this guy just opened my mind. And it was like a brick in the head moment where it was like, this is going to be the most powerful thing to ever hit Facebook in a long time. Not only Facebook, I mean, bots are opening up to other platforms too, which is really cool. And it just put me on this journey to figure it out. Boy, within a month, I couldn't believe kind of the engagement that I was getting. It was just off the charts. And so
That's
that's
cool.
really what led me down the Facebook Messenger bot path. And it's been a staple in my business ever since for the last several years. And it's just one of the main avenues that I use to communicate with my audience because it's so effective. And, I'm sure we'll talk more about that too. But it's an incredible way to engage. And today it's all about engagement. You can build the audience all day long, but if you never engage the audience, it's kind of useless. That's why I could tell
Absolutely.
you I've generated all these leads in my life, but in the end, it's about who engages with you. And
Yeah.
Facebook Messenger bots is the most incredible way to do that.
Yeah, because people are even checking Facebook Messenger
Yeah.
even more than they don't check their email as much anymore. They'll
Yeah.
always be on Messenger. Even
Yep.
some people go as far as checking Messenger before their text messages on their phone.
100%.
So it's a great way to get in front of people and know that when you do, you're actually seen,
Yeah.
right? And very quickly as well.
Yeah.
So most of my audience is entrepreneurs and network marketers.
Mm-hmm.
So could you paint a really great picture of like a network marketer or like an entrepreneur? People basically are selling products or services or business opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give an example on how they can simply use a messenger bot to help grow their business.
Yeah.
Can you give an example of what that might look like?
Specifically with network marketing, because I work with a ton of network marketers. And I know you'd asked that before. I didn't answer that, but I work with a lot of network marketers and affiliate marketers. So that's kind of my tribe, so to speak. But,
Yeah.
one of the best ways to use messenger bots is to pre-qualify. There's a common saying in network marketing, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I like it, but it's go for no. I'm like, why go for no? Why not just go for a yes?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, let's pre-qualify people, because a lot of time is spent in pre-qualification. And you can actually set up a bot that pre-qualifies somebody before you even really go in and talk with them yourself. And that is where, a bot can actually ask the questions that pre-qualify somebody. And if they meet the specific criteria, then you can come in and do the follow-up yourself. And that's where I think is the most powerful part of it, because, there's numbers, whether we don't like to, I don't like to refer to people as numbers, but, from a purely business standpoint, when you want to sign people up, recruit people, it's about talking to as many people as possible. And out of that, Jim Rohn used to say, out of that, a ratio appears. Talk to 10, get 1. And well, what if you can, in the 9 that don't necessarily aren't interested, what if you could just, every time you spoke to somebody, it was the 1 out of the 10 that was interested? And that's where I think Facebook Messenger bots are the most powerful, is in the pre-qualification process, because it saves you a lot of time in the, the kind of prospecting part of it, and saves you, if you had to go in and, when you're kind of asking questions and kind of, gearing and generating interest in something, what if you just were able to pass something off and say, go through this, it'll kind of give you an idea of what it is. In network marketing, it's all about the tools, and, we like to talk about duplication. What if you set up something that was able to do that and made it very, very simple to do, where it just asks the same question every time, and, you just kind of look for the answer, and now you can move forward.
And I love that you said that, 'cause, saving time is the name of the game. It means that we can move faster in our business. We can go through more people and get those ratios to work for us. So what I kind of see, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I do use messenger bots on a very basic level in my business, right? There's probably a lot more that we could be doing with them that we're not, but it's still it's working famously to help us be in front of our people. So let's say like a network marketer does a Facebook post, or they do a Facebook Live, and they talk about whatever. They talk about they're talking maybe about the benefits of being in a home business, or the benefits of using their product. They could say something like, hey, comment with the word freebie in the comment section below if you would like some more information. And then what happens is that messenger bot is set up for that post, you guys, to trigger based on that comment keyword that you set up, freebie. So everybody that's typing freebie in the comment section below, and you guys know if you tune in each week on Tanya Liza TV, we've got this trigger set up, right? So basically you would have that set up for your business, and then you would have a little campaign of messages that you would set up that would go out based on their answers, yes or no or whatever. And it's almost like your robot is engaging with the person that's interest to a certain point. This is how I would recommend it, right? It's like, so it's like, hey, are you looking to start a home business of your own? And if they say yes, then they go to one message that you set up. If they say no, they go to a different message that you set up. And then you can kind of navigate that conversation. What's that book, like Choose Your Own Adventure, right? You kind of like set up the Choose Your Own Adventure. And you kind of set up a mini campaign. Maybe it's 10 messages that you pre-did, so that you're getting people to a certain point of interest before you start personally engaging with that person to save yourself a bunch of time, so that you're pre-qualifying them and making sure, like, some of the questions that I would ask if I was doing that would be, that's if they say, yes, I'm interested in starting a home business. Great. How much do you have to invest today? And then you can have a couple of options, 100 to 200, 200 to 300. And then what they're willing to put as output, so what packages to offer if they get to that point, or you kind of already know where their mind is at. I really want to paint the picture for you guys today in you using messenger bots in your business. Now, this doesn't take away, right? And Mark, I'm sure that you would agree, it does not take away you personally interacting with people, because that's what our business is, but it takes a lot of the grunt work out in the beginning that's monotonous and can be automated, really, right?
Yeah, that's really the name of the game here. You hit it right at, when you had mentioned how it's about saving time. And it's all about how can you talk to more people faster, and save time without losing that personal touch. And because that personal touch is a big thing, especially in network marketing. But what you talked about, that strategy of being able to have a bot activate according to comments. I see networkers all the time because I'm connected with so many of them on Facebook where they'll put out a post or a curiosity post, and if you want more info, type info below or type freedom below or something like that. The next thing you know, I see these posts, and I've seen some that have gotten literally hundreds of responses. You now have to spend your entire day going through and replying to every single one of those comments. And I've done it, and it is tedious, let me tell you. But if somebody was to put that comment in there and your bot takes over and does that information, does that for you, that's where the beauty of it is, because now you can focus on creating the content and getting that going, with each piece of content that you create, and having that freebie delivered. And you could ask like you said, a couple of the follow-up questions that really start to do the pre-qualification of where they're at. And the cool thing is you can actually set it up where once they get to a certain point, it can actually text you and say, hey, so-and-so says they're interested, go in here, and now you've got a hot prospect that you can go, cool, hey, this is Tanya, I'm just following up with you. Great, so it looks like you got some interest, or whatever you want, whatever you say. But it's it's incredible once you get things rolling.
Yeah, and I love it because once you figure out how to do these, because there's a lot of things in business in general that you are monotonously doing. And I always say that if you have to say the same thing over and over again, or if you have to do the same thing over and over again, find a way to automate or delegate it, because your time is very valuable. And that's why we all get into network marketing, is to have time freedom and money freedom, right? So you need to create these systems around what it is that you're doing. And even so much on the front end, and I was talking to Mark about this, once you learn how to use a Facebook Messenger bot, you can not only automate a lot of the front end of what it is that you're doing, using bots to generate interest and leads and taking them through a process for you to a certain point, you can also automate the back end of it as well. And I did a Facebook Live. This is what stemmed this entire conversation with you, Mark. I did this Facebook Live, and I started talking about onboarding your new team members in network marketing and doing it properly so that they duplicate, right? Because that's the struggle. We know this. So we've got to give them easy enough steps to go out there and create a result with fast, onboard them, not bog them down with too much training at one time, not overwhelm them. This is a struggle. So we are currently working on right now building a Facebook Messenger bot, because we know how to use them, we learned how to use them, and we're getting a new team member for the team activated for like a 10 message journey, right? So every time they complete a little bit of information of their onboarding, they click on go to the next step, then they go to the next step, and they get the other piece of information. So basically what we're doing is we're walking them through the onboarding as if we were sitting there right beside them in their home, walking them through the steps, making sure that they're comfortable, giving them only the information that they need to get the result and get started. And we're automating it all through Facebook Messenger bot, and they're getting all of that inside of their Facebook Messenger, which then they can go back to later and use as training if they ever forget anything. They just scroll up and go, what was that again? How did I actually answer that question? Oh, that's how. So this is the power of Facebook Messenger bots, you guys, and I really want you guys to visualize as we're talking here on how they can be useful in your business. Don't discredit like, oh, I'm in this business, so it won't work for me. Like, no, it will work for you if you have processes, and if you don't have processes, you should have processes, and then just put them on automation, right?
When it comes to processes, the one person I listen to is Tanya Eliza. This gal has it figured out, so trust me. I learn from Tanya just as much as she learns from me. So.
Well, I will attribute all of that to my mother. She is a German individual who runs a very tight ship at home. And we had systems and processes for things. I mean, it was the military over there, all right? So some of that came over into my adult life. So I want to talk a little bit more with like what has changed with Facebook Messenger and things like that. But before we do that, everybody knows that if they tune in each week with me on the show, that we like to equip them with a free resource that you can use in your business that goes along with the topic that we're talking about for this week. So you guys, I asked Mark, I said, Mark, is there anything that we can specially put together for the people that tune in that want to learn about Facebook Messenger? And he said, yeah, I've actually got a free training that they can dive into if they want to learn more and actually see it in action on how I use Facebook Messenger, specifically to get like super interest and engagement happening with the people that are requesting more information from you. So what is the free training exactly, Mark? Can you share with them? And like, who is it good for? And then I'll tell them where they can go and get it.
Basically, what I've put together in this training is I call it a 3-step framework, or really it's a basic framework that helps you to understand that I kind of build my business around all the time. And it's a very simple process of build, engage, and sell. You build an audience, you sell to you engage your audience, you'd sell to your audience. And this has served me for a long time. And one of the unique things about it, and I'm just giving you a little context on this training, is that there's so many strategies out there to build an audience. And then you kind of need another strategy to figure out how to engage the audience. And then, you have another strategy where you sell to the audience. The beauty of Facebook Messenger bots especially is that the build, engage, sell model fits all within the one strategy. So you can use it to build an audience, you can use it to engage your audience, and you can use it to sell to your audience. And that's why I think it is so awesome. And one of the things that I put together in this training is basically how to really build that hyper responsive audience, and really how you can do it within 24 hours. I mean, that's the goal, is to get somebody out there right away and how they can go out there and do it. And I show you how to do that in this training. And it's perfect for network marketers. I mean, there's never been a strategy that's more perfect for network marketers because of like what we talked about, and especially with the commenting and being able to engage people in that way and save a ton of time doing it. So it's a great training. It will really lay out for you this, 3-part framework, but also how you can really go out there and start building this audience very, very quickly.
I love it. And because I use Facebook Messenger, you guys, I did want to share with you this training. So Mark, thank you for putting it together. So to get access to it, it's free. Go watch it. It's free right now. You can access it at tanyaeliza.com/214. And wherever you're watching this video, we'll leave a link above or below in the description area that you can click that'll take you directly to the blog to get access to the training. Or if you're already on the blog, right below this video, there'll be a big yellow button that you can click and request access to Mark's training for free if you want to dive into Facebook Messenger a little bit more. And there is no one better that I know of right now, specifically for also our industry of network marketing, that's teaching Facebook Messenger bots for us specifically and how to use them to grow our business. Because there's also compliance things that we have to be careful of on Facebook as well. And Mark's aware of that. And we want to make sure that we're following all of the rules, not only with our network marketing company, but also with Facebook. We got to keep both of those beasts happy, right? So thank you for putting that training together. I really hope that people go and dive into it. I think it'd be very, very valuable. But I want to get through a little bit more here. So what are the changes? So if somebody is maybe watching this and they're like, oh, I already know how to use Messenger bot. What are some of the changes that recently happened that we need to be aware of? And how do we utilize that change to our benefit?
So one of the big draws to Facebook bots, Messenger bots over the past couple of years has been the fact that you can go out and build a subscriber list of Messenger subscribers, and you can then go in and send broadcasts like an email to your Messenger list. And it was very powerful to be able to do that. You can still do that, by the way, and I'll tell you how in just a second. But what was so powerful about it is that you could build up 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, 20,000 people, and with one click you could send out a message to all of them, and they would all get this message. Very powerful. The problem is people abused it very badly. And what was happening is it was really kind of taking away the effectiveness of a Facebook Messenger bot. And let's just be real, Facebook realized they had a massive hole in their bucket and they were losing a lot of money because, hey, you got marketers that are using this, and that's a place where we can make money. So basically, it was a couple different places where Facebook saw the abuse. They were really coming down on it, and also they were plugging a hole in their bucket. It's a public company, of course. They're there to make profits. No, nothing wrong with that. So what they've done now is you can still send broadcasts. You just have to pay for it through a sponsored message. And so you can build up a subscriber list, but the cost to send out a message to, per thousand is so low. I mean, it's really low. And through all the testing I've done, I've never spent more than say $20 on messages. And the engagement rate is still crazy. So you can still send broadcasts. You just have to do it through a sponsored message.
So let's say like that. So you build up this list, right? Let's say you put out a Facebook post that said, hey, let's say your end goal is to sell your weight loss system. Okay. You put out a Facebook post and it has to do with 5 foods that you need to avoid eating or incorporating into your diet immediately if you're trying to shed the pounds before summer season, right? And then, and then you say, hey, if you want this 5 food list that I have, then type, bikini in the comment section below, right? And so everyone's typing bikini, and then your messenger bot is going to work. Now, all of those people that type the word bikini, they get added to a list. Like, this is so cool. So an interest list in your messenger bot tool, right? And so all of these people that do that, that they have an interest in weight loss. How valuable is that list of people to you now if you sell a weight loss system? Now, obviously, you're going to go through warming them up, engaging them with the messages that you're going to send them through the bot and campaign. You can learn more about that in Mark's training and how that works. But think about, let's say your company now does a promotion for summer. And they're like, we've got maybe some of those people, a lot of those people on the list, some of them purchased right away from you, some of them didn't, a lot of them didn't, normal. So then what you would do is you have a promo going on that your company put out on this weight loss system. And you're like, dang, I want all these people that showed an initial interest in wanting to lose weight to know about this promo. Like, maybe it'll push them off the fence. And then you pay like a few bucks to messenger everybody that promo with a cool incentive. And you might spend a few bucks to make a whole lot more, kind of like how Mark said in the beginning of this. So how valuable would that be to you? I mean, I hope you guys can see the big, ridiculous picture here.
One other cool thing I didn't mention here is that Facebook still gives you what's called a 24-hour window. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's say somebody's on your post, you're doing a Facebook Live, and they comment bikini, for your freebie thing. They interact with the bot, and the bot gives them the freebie once they kind of confirm it. From that very moment that they've interacted with your bot, Facebook says, okay, we're now going to give you 24 hours where you can send a broadcast for free. And you can broadcast out to all of those that have interacted. So let's say you give away your freebie, and this is a cool little strategy where you give your freebie, and tomorrow morning, for those of you that pick up the freebie, I've got another special thing that I'm going to send you, and you're within that 24-hour window where you can then re-engage for no cost at all. So Facebook still gives you some incredible tools to do it, and then they've also given this new one where it's called a one-time notification, where you can actually, and this is another strategy where you can have that freebie go up, the bikini freebie, and then, hey, in the next week, I've got a new training that I've got coming out that's going to show you exactly how to do this. Would you like me to notify you when it's ready? All they got to do is click something that says, yes, send me a notification. And now it can be 4 months, 5 months, 6 months out, and you still now can send a broadcast for free to the people that have asked for that notification. That's awesome. So what they've done is, it's not like they've taken away the ability to broadcast. They've just set some more rules around it that, keep the abuse to a minimum, you see? Yeah. But for those of us that see it and go, hey man, it just makes it a better playing field for all of us that get the vision of it. And it's just very powerful.
Yeah, and of course, like, Facebook is going to want to moderate any abuse in there, because their goal is to have a platform that people love and enjoy being on. They don't get annoyed with all of these crazy messages, right? So it's all in how we use it. And I think you go over a lot of the exactly how to, like, in that free training, so that people, people can see the bigger picture of using it for them in their business. So I'm really grateful that you were able to put that
Yeah.
together for all of us and update it, because a training like this does need to be updated. I know that you've updated it a little bit, which
Yeah.
is good to make sure that we are staying on
Yeah.
track with all of the changes that Facebook makes. And
Yeah.
sometimes, oh my gosh, like I get a headache with all of the changes that Facebook makes.
Well, and the key too is just to keep it as simplified as possible, because there's so many things you can do with Facebook Messenger bots, but when it really gets down to the real crux of it, like how can I make it simple and just make it work? And I think the model that we've been talking about is really so powerful, and I've put that in the training, is because to really show you how to set it up, number one, but also how to really get something going really easily and getting that kind of engagement through the comments. So that's really one of the best ways to use it.
Yeah. So if people are, if you're like, hey, how do I get leads? How do I get engagement? And hey, I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Mark can show you how to do it in less than 24 hours or less.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't get any simpler than that.
simple.
All as it is that you've got to actually implement. That's really what it boils down to.
Exactly.
And we can,
Exactly.
we can take you to the water. You've got to do the drinking, right?
Right.
So I want to get into some rapid fire with you,
Yeah.
Mark. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
A little nervous here, not
Do
sure.
you need to do you need to dab the sweat off the forehead? Okay, let's go. All right. Rapid fire, Mark. We got to get to know you. I love getting to know my guests a little bit more,
Yeah.
and I think that's ultimately really important. So, what is your favorite food?
Man, there's something about Chinese food, that sweet and sour chicken with lo mein. Oh man, that's it.
Chinese
Love it.
Food. I now have a craving for Chinese food. Thank you very much. So, what is your biggest pet peeve that you can think of in life?
Okay, so this makes me think of, I just recently took a strengths test and realized that one of my weaknesses is empathy. And the reason being is because I don't like excuses, and I'm a coach. I coach a lot of people. And so when I hear excuses, I'm kind of like, nope, let's make it happen. So excuses are my pet peeve. Like, we all have them and they all stink.
Yeah.
Let's do
I'm
it.
so with you there. What is your favorite music?
I'm an 80s child, so I'm all into like Metallica and 80s metal. I love it.
I would never have guessed this, knowing you for so many years.
Come on, man. I used to have a mullet. Are you kidding me?
I've never seen you wear your Metallica t-shirt. I've never seen you wear it.
I don't have a lot of the paraphernalia and stuff, but I'm totally like into 80s metal. I love it.
I love it. That's what gets you jazzed up in the morning. All right, if
Yeah.
you were stranded on a deserted island
Yeah.
and you could only bring three things, not people, but three things, what would those three things be?
It'd probably be my cell phone, even though I might
Yep.
not get signal. At least I'd have something to play with. A never-ending supply of Chinese food, and
That's not even possible.
I know because it's my favorite food, and some 80s metal.
Okay.
If I had no choice and I was stuck, I'd be cool. It'd be good.
All right. So it's funny. I asked this with my guests, and like some people are really like logical, like survival,
Yeah.
right, ready to go, and some people are going to literally last 2 days
Yeah.
on the island, right?
Hey, if you got a never-ending supply of Chinese food, you're good. You might gain a little
Till
weight,
the
but who
seagulls
knows?
take over you. What is your most embarrassing moment in life that you can think of?
Yeah, so I really, there's plenty of them. Probably some not suitable for, this interview, but I would probably have to say forgetting some of my wedding vows in my wedding. Yeah, when you got 80 people sitting there and you kind of forget, that's
Really?
wasn't a good one. I was a little embarrassed there, that's for sure. But
So what did you do? I gotta know. Did you just like wink at
well, yeah, and then the pastor that was marrying us kind of chimed in and reminded me, and I'm like sweating literally, like I can't. I'm like, this is like one of the greatest moments of my life, and here I am. Thankfully, my wife and I are still here 17 years later, so that's a good sign.
Yes. Oh, it wasn't the vows.
Yes.
It was the man. I love it. Okay, what is one of your biggest business successes that you can think of?
So for me, it's probably as far as business success, where I generated over 100 grand in revenue in one day in my business.
Yeah.
And my best month, which is a little bit over $300,000. So that's probably
That's
from
pretty
a
beast.
from a pure business standpoint, I'd probably have to say that.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's huge. We got to celebrate. We got to have some champagne moments.
Absolutely. It's what it's about.
Well, I truly hope that everybody goes and dives in a little bit deeper into Facebook Messenger with your training that you've offered us up for free into our community. So thank you for that. Of
course.
Mark, thank you. For your
Thank
time
you.
today. We
Thank you for
truly
having me
appreciate
out. And just so everybody knows, when Tanya says, "Hey, I need this," I'm on it. You know what I mean? I love you, Tanya. Like you're just such a great friend, and I just want to tell everybody you couldn't be following a better person. Not just business person, but on a personal level. I know Tanya, on a friendship level, and she's just an amazing person. So I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for having me out. It's always my pleasure for sure.
Thank you, Mark, for the kind words. Thank you for your time today. You guys make sure that you definitely do get your hands on that training from Mark. It will help you. It's a really simple strategy to help you grow your business, and that's why I wanted to bring Mark out on the show so you could meet him and you could trust him enough to go through his training, and I hope that you do. You can go and get registered and pick up that training, TanyaEliza.com/214. The only thing that we ask is if after you go through the training and you learn a lot and you implement, share your results, share your success with us. It's the biggest compliment that we could ask for. We want to hear all the good stuff that it does for you and your business. If you loved this episode, as I'm sure that you have if you stuck around till now, please make sure to share this with anybody that you think could find value in this content and in this training. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you're subscribed to the Tanya Liza TV show, because we release a new episode each and every single week with a free resource for you and your business. And I just want to say thank you to Mark for coming out and sharing all of his goodness with us. And there's definitely a whole lot more in that training that he's made for us. You guys go and crush it, make it a fabulous week, and I'll see you on the next episode of Tanya Eliza TV.